I hereby call this meeting of the Nevada City Planning Commission to order. Please join me for the Nisenan recognition. We acknowledge that the Nisenan people are still here among us today, though nearly invisible. We understand that we are on Nisenan land that was never ceded, and the original tribal families have yet to recover from the near genocide of their people. As a resident or visitor in Nisenan land, we support the Nevada City Rancheria and Nisenan tribe in efforts to stabilize their people, as well as their campaign to restore federal recognition. Now, please join me in that flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons? Here. Commissioner Nye?
Here.
Commissioner Hadami?
Here.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Here.
And Chair Brown?
Here.
All present.
Any corrections or changes to the agenda?
No corrections.
None? I would like to start with one thing here, just to recognize that Jessica is now our full-time official planner, and thank you, Jim, for reminding me to make that announcement. So just a little background on her. She worked for some planning consulting firms down in the Sacramento area for a number of years before moving up to work for the county. After that, she started her own consulting firm, which sort of led her into the interim position here, and now I have to have her full time. I'd also note that she is AICP certified, which means that she went through a rigorous program of study to complete a pretty lengthy exam certifying her planning knowledge, and that she continues to do ongoing work to stay abreast of changes in the field. So we're very happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Excellent.
Yeah.
With that, I will open the floor to public comment. Is there anyone who would like to talk on something not on the agenda?
Are we here?
Yes, go ahead.
Excellent. For the record, I'm Gordon Gossage with Regenesis Planet, and I have funding proposals out there that I can get you a copy of. It's basically using deliberative democracy for creating housing solutions. But one of the things I guess I would like to introduce the idea of is that there's a way of using whatever you have that's in GIS for all the plots of land. And then you take something that we call in software, I should say I've been in the software and data industry since 1977. So I am in fact 70. But you can take a GIS application that you have, whatever data you have, and then you could create digital objects. And think of a digital object as an example of Cashin's Field. So you have this series of buildings, 51 units on 4.6 acres. And just imagine you have the construction costs, impact on schools, whatever all the data is. And then you can actually create a pro forma of what the rent would have to be for it to be market rate, or what the subsidy would have to be to, be able to pay for people with less money. And then you can move that around, okay, and start seeing what the impact is. And one of the things I guess I would look at is think of 135 units that you're supposed to build or help build. That could be 3 Cashin fields. So that could be 15 acres somewhere in Nevada City. And again, if you look at, let's say from the top end, somebody who makes more than 125K is in that above moderate income. And if you want to buy a house at $625,000, you could think of 5X as roughly what it is. So I would think of one is a Cashin's Field-like property that is subsidized, maybe down to the lowest income level, and then a market rate rental and what the rents would have to be given all those factors. And then also, I would consider a condominium complex. What could those condominiums sell for if given the current numbers in terms of penciling out. Anyway, I realized in order to think like this, you have to think in terms of scenarios rather than plans, and just all the assumptions that go into it and all the political problems. I don't know if you're familiar with political problems in land use, but just try to put them aside when doing these scenarios. And then it's really possible to figure out where a unit, a development could be and how much it would cost. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to comment on items not on the agenda? Seeing none, I will move on to the consent calendar. Is there anyone on the commission or in the audience who would like to comment on or discuss any items on the agenda? Seeing none, would someone like to make a motion on the consent calendar?
I move we approve the consent calendar.
Great, I have a motion.
I'll second.
Go ahead, you're in a second?
I'll second it.
Great, thank you, Jim. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Next, moving on to the annual progress report for the 6th cycle housing element.
Okay, thank you, Chair Brown, Commissioners, Jessica Hankins, City Planner. So this first item is a progress report on how the city has done implementing its housing element for the 6th cycle, which is essentially, the 6th cycle is an 8-year period that we have been doing planning for housing, and we're kind of nearing the end of it. It's going to end in June of 2027. So for this past year, actually, before I jump into that, let me just say that this doesn't always go to the Planning Commission, so I'm not sure if you've heard this before. It's not required to go to the Planning Commission, but out of courtesy, I wanted the Planning Commission to see this and to know what we've been doing, what city staff has been doing to try to implement the housing element over the last year. We are going to City Council next week with this annual progress report for their approval, and once they approve it, we'll submit that to the state's Housing and Community Development Agency. A little bit more background, in this current cycle that we're in right now, we have a housing allocation of 135 units, of which 52 units have to be lower income. We've been pretty active in building, especially lower income units. We've actually exceeded our minimum of 52. We're at 59 right now, so we're over the amount that we were required to build, and haven't quite met the overall amount. But we have made a lot of progress this past year. In October, we had a joint housing workshop with other regional agencies, including other cities in the county and HCD, to coordinate housing development opportunities. We have been updating the accessory dwelling unit regulations, which you'll hear today, trying to complete the ADU pre-approved plans, and those are almost ready to go as well, and several other items. So we have been making very good progress. The city also just recently issued the RFP for the 7th cycle housing element, so we have to get started on that now while we're still implementing the last one. And so that will hopefully get started here within the next month or two. Our new housing allocation, just to bring the Planning Commission into the loop on this, I don't know that we've talked about it before, but we received our new allocation for the 7th cycle, and it's over 3 times as much as the last cycle. So we're looking at 424 new units and over 200 low-income units within that 424. And then Gary Price Consulting has been helping with doing a lot of the work on the housing element, the current one. So he's here to also help answer any questions. Gary, did you have anything to add to that report?
That was a really good presentation. The city isn't actually required to produce the housing because they're not in business of producing. We have to provide capacity, and to the extent we can, reduce the constraints to development to accommodate particularly the lower income workforce housing. So yeah, and I'm really pleased with the outcome of the city. This is the best we've done. We started with the first state certified element in 2014, which I was a part of. And then we've updated, I think, twice since then. And so 7th would be a real challenge with the new numbers. And there's a lot more requirements this year or the 7th cycle. There's furthering fair housing, which is almost as big as the housing element itself. It talks about discrimination in housing and the vulnerability of populations, different populations in the city. And so that's going to kind of take on its own, thing that you'll be looking at with staff over the next year and a half.
Yeah, you will see more from us on this moving forward.
I have a question. It's
Yes.
really basic. The 7th cycle, the requirement shown, is that based on population? What?
Well, what was really interesting is that housing conference. I don't know if you attended that, but you actually had folks from HCD come and talk about the methodology of how they came up with the new RENA numbers, which was quite different than the 6th cycle. And for some reason, Nevada County it was really the rural agencies seem to be picked on a lot for that. I think a lot has to do with the vacancy rates and past performance. We did really well, so maybe they go, hey, we'll throw some more at you. But the methodology, we questioned the methodology, and the HCD said, well, that came from the legislature, and there's not anything you can do with those numbers except to redistribute them between different agencies within the county. I don't think the county was interested in relooking at that.
Probably not.
I hope that answers your question.
Well, yeah, but I have another question then. So is that so rural municipalities, is it possibly some metric between available land and population? Since it's rural, we have more
some of that.
space.
It has to do with the population characteristics. And, it was interesting. I was looking at like South Lake Tahoe. They only have like an increase in 2 in the arenas. So that's a rural area. So it's kind of a strange methodology they're using.
Where could we
And-
find the methodology if we wanted to look at it?
What's that?
Where could we find that methodology if we wanted
Didn't
to?
we put that? We have the arena.
They did a large presentation at the workshop, and I have a copy of that I can forward to all of you.
Yeah,
if
that
you'd
would be
like
good.
to see
There's
it.
also that.
I would-
Because it is very involved. There's a lot to it.
But
Yeah.
there's actually
Yeah.
a letter.
There's also a letter,
And
yeah.
that has some of the methodology in it and references you can go to, so Jessica can send that.
It'd be great if you could forward that to us.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who are unaware, RENA is Regional Housing Needs Assessment.
Yes,
Yeah.
good point.
So the action on this is just to receive and file the report. There's no other.
Perhaps satisfy our curiosity.
Yes.
Well, are there other questions from the commission at all?
A million, but not for now.
Yeah, maybe after you read see the
Yeah.
presentation. Anything from you, Sean, or nothing?
No.
Go ahead, Jim.
I just had a quick question about the code compliance officer. What codes are they mostly, and who do they report to? Who gives them direction?
Yes. Yeah, we added a code compliance officer in this current cycle, and she reports to the police chief. So she's actually a police officer, and she enforces our municipal code, the entire municipal code, and the zoning code is included in that, obviously. Yeah.
Any other questions from the commission? If not, is there anyone in the public who would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing no one, any final discussion from the commission? Seeing not, I think we will accept the report and move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, for sure. All right.
Thanks, Gary.
Going on, back to my agenda. to the next item, which is 244 Commercial Street, architectural review for new paint colors. Hello, thanks for coming forward.
Okay, thank you. This is an application by Leslie Barbizet for 244 Commercial Street. The Planning Commission heard this proposal at the last meeting in February, and the application has been revised with some new paint colors. At the last meeting, you'll recall that the commission approved the conditional use permit and most of the architectural review, as well as a sign permit, and the only remaining item is the color of the building. At the previous meeting, there was a color proposed. Tarrytown green was what the commission saw. Originally, I would note that when the application first came to staff, the proposed color was Essex green, which is a little darker than the Tarrytown green. And the commission had asked the applicant to select a lighter shade even than the Tarrytown, which was presented at the last hearing. So let's move on here and show you what's actually proposed now. This is the current proposal is up on the left. It is back to the Essex green that was submitted to staff originally with the black trim. And if that is not approved, then there is an alternative proposal for boreal forest on the right with Essex green as the trim color. I provided in the staff report some terminology for the commission, which I also had to learn in terms of lightness or darkness. That is usually talked about in terms of value, and there's also saturation that's discussed throughout the staff report as well. So there are three code sections and design guidelines, essentially city regulations and advisory guidelines that relate to paint color. The first states that all buildings which are altered as to their exterior appearance shall conform with the mother lode type of architecture, or substantially conform to the mother lode type of architecture. And then in a separate section, that is defined as what was generally used here from 1849 to 1900. And the term architecture includes colors in the zoning code. So just want to make that clear, that that's what we're working under. And then the design guidelines in terms of color state historical colors are encouraged for commercial buildings in the historical district. We did at the last meeting receive a letter from the Nevada County Historical Society indicating that historically colors were not dark in that mother lode era. Again, obviously in later periods, we've seen darker colors. Staff also contacted the branch librarian for the Doris Foley Historical Library, and they indicated that in all of the pictures they were able to pull up, buildings from that era were either unpainted wood or brick or painted a light color. But looking a little bit more broadly to that era, there were muted, natural earth tones, and that word muted, I think I defined that in the staff report for you too. That's usually when a brighter color, gray or brown, is added to it to mute it. So some of the colors that were used were colors like beige, fawn, cream, ochre, sage green, which is similar to one of the proposed colors, clay, stone gray, and other natural colors. They used a lot of natural materials to make the colors. Lamp black was also used for black paint on the trim work. On this particular building, these are some of the pictures that were in the last staff report too, but the building was all brick with a wooden gable on the top there. And then later, the bottom half was covered with stucco, and then the top remained brick but was painted over. And then obviously, even later, that gable was removed. So the current proposal is to paint over all of the existing peeling paint. The paint is peeling like pretty badly at the top half on the brick. And so that would be painted as well, the entire front of the building. So the rest of the staff report kind of goes through these design guidelines, and essentially the Essex green color, I took a look at the light reflectance value of that. All of the light reflectance values are listed on Benjamin Moore's website. It has an LRV of 5.64. 0 is black, 100 is white. So that is generally a more saturated color than the alternative color of boreal forest. It has a little bit more gray in it and is a little bit more muted. That has an LRV of 12.17. And then for reference, on the same street, the Rivers is painted a color with an LRV of 15.68, which is fairly close, and Heartwood is an LRV of 8.36, which is darker. So staff is recommending that because the Essex green is a darker, more saturated hue, that doesn't appear to be consistent with those zoning codes and the design guidelines that I mentioned, that the Planning Commission approved the alternative color of boreal forest with the Essex green trim. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Anything you'd like to add to that?
I have a little presentation.
Sure.
Can you pull that up?
I will. There we go.
And I also have big paint colors for you guys to see. Okay, so as Jessica mentioned, hi Commissioners, thanks for seeing me again. So we've got the two, I definitely still wanted to add the Essex green back in, mainly because it's a pretty core color to my brand, and it's the one that I like the best. So I just wanted to reinstate that. After getting these big swatches, we did get the Terrytown green, and once we put it up on the building, it skewed really blue. So I'm actually thankful that we didn't approve that, because I would have been disappointed in it when I saw it on the building. We put them all up, and anecdotally, everybody that walked by did like the darkest Essex green when they were walking by. If I don't get that, then the boreal forest is my backup using Essex green as the trim. So those are two renderings there. And so I just wanted to go through, one of the comments from last time was the dark looked too contrasted from the buildings next door. And so I just wanted to take us down a little historical path on the fact that these buildings have had contrast in the past, and they don't now. So just going back to the historical character of this block, there was a lot of contrast in the past. So I just wanted to point that out as, you know, being a reason for not approving it. So current state, you can see on the next slide. Right now we've got a tan building with a light pink next to it. And I would argue that that does not look good. The colors don't really look that great together. So if you look at on the right, that same building has a dark green next to it. And I think that looks really nice. It just shows the contrast, and it shows that there is already a dark green right around the corner. And then if you go to the next slide, you can see this is right in downtown. This is an area where contrasting colors of different hues and different colors actually sit really well together. And that I think doing that on this block will definitely look more like this. So I also wanted to just bring it to your attention that this is the backside of my building where my residence is. And my residence is this door right here. So it already is a really dark green on this building. So the green next to it is the building that you saw on the outside. And you can see that on my building already is a really, really dark green. It's a lot brighter because it doesn't get a lot of sun, so it didn't fade. And they used like a really glossy paint, but just having precedence of a really dark green on the building already is there. And just historical significance of dark green. The National was dark green for a really long time. And then other dark green buildings in town. So this is Moonrise on Mill Street that was approved. They used a different color, dark green, that is almost an exact match to the boreal forest. I was communicating with the owners today, and they sent me their swatch, and I put it next to my swatch, and you can't tell the difference between the two. So there's on Spring Street and Mill Street, and then there's the colors when we put them up there. So you can see that the top is boreal forest and then the bottom is Essex green. And those are these paint swatches, so I'm happy to pass them around. So these two are, so if you want to pass those around, you guys can see. And then one of the things that I definitely want to bring up is the fading factor. This is a south-facing building. It's very bright right now. I have friends that have been sitting in Heartwood and have to wear sunglasses when they're looking at my building because it is so bright. And so having a darker color, I think will look better on the street. It'll be more comfortable for the patrons that are sitting across the street having food. And it will fade. I mean, I'm getting premium paint and there is UV protection, but all paints fade. And so it's important to me that I don't have to paint this building. It's a huge investment to paint this building. And I am remediating the peeling paint, so I'm not painting over peeling paint, but we can't remove the peeling paint and expose all of the brick because of the lead that's in there. So I am remediating that, but only to the point of getting off the peeling paint and then painting over it. So we did a little rendering. So this is Jo Garst. She's my architect. She's also a Nevada County Planning Commissioner. Jo did Essex green and what it would look like when it was faded down, as well as boreal green when that's faded down. So I definitely want to make sure that when the paint is faded, it doesn't look too yellow and that it still is a really nice, beautiful dark green, which is pretty core to my brand. And that's it. Do you want to add anything?
I don't have anything to add at this time.
Great, thank you. I appreciate the presentation. With that, I'll bring it to the commission for questions.
First, what a great touch to do the faded version of the colors. It's very helpful. Really nice presentation. Also, Jessica, thank you for the really thorough dive into the let's see, the
LRV.
What?
LRV.
Why
The
reflect its
percentage.
value?
Oh, no, but the applicability of paint color in our ordinance structure, in our code. It's very helpful because it would be capricious and arbitrary to approve or deny a color scheme based on what we like, or whether or not we like the applicants. That would be actually corrupt. Our intent, I believe, is to make a code-based finding. That's a statement.
Yeah,
Question.
exactly. Questions.
Would you mind going back to their presentation and zooming in on the photograph that was presented of a very early picture of the subject building? Historic photograph.
I think you just passed it.
Yes, the center image. I wonder if you can zoom on that. Okay, thanks.
Great. Other questions? Sean? Amy?
Any questions? No
No?
questions.
Jim? No. No, I have no questions from me. I'll now bring it to the community. Is there anyone in the audience from the public who would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing no one, I'll bring it back for discussion. Anyone who would like to start the discussion on this item? Well, I will jump in then, if no one else will. I also want to thank you, Jessica, for the very thorough presentation. I appreciate having the basis of, how we do our decisions laid out. I think it helps us as well as helps the public. So, and also for the detailed discussion about color and working to place that in context too. I also want to thank you for your presentation. I appreciated, we are, another thing that wasn't in her presentation, but it is within the code and the review guidelines, is to consider context. And you're exactly right. Context doesn't mean have to mean matchy-matchy, so to speak, but, you know, an appropriate level of, or sorry, context doesn't have to mean matchy-matchy, but an appropriate level of contrast can be part of that. So I appreciated that as well. Other discussion? Jim?
Oh, I just wanted to make it's really good that there's been a lot of discussion about this. And for instance, front page article in the Union, the Nevada Union, which
The Nevada Union?
in the newspaper.
Is it called the Nevada Union?
No, it's yeah, in the Union newspaper.
Okay.
So, and just in reference to that, which had a picture of the building, it did mention in there, and I just wanted to make a slight correction on that, that this item had come to the commission 3 times, and as far as I know, this is the second time, right? Okay, correct. So that's good that it went into, I think, the whole discussion of the colors. And then, like, just for me personally, ever since being on the commission, the issue of context, I guess that's why we exist, because otherwise you could find it in the guidelines specifically. And so it is important that we have a good discussion of the context of the how it fits in with guidelines we're given, and that context tends to change over time. So how that fits into the discussion.
Great. Thanks, Jim. Anyone else? Seeing no one, would someone like to make a motion?
No.
I know you've got stuff to say.
Or do you have some discussion, Tom?
I'm just waiting.
Under the heading of general oration, the context does change. Very dark colors on buildings are a trend, and it's no surprise that people who pass by your building like the Essex green, because the public all over the country are loving dark colors. It's moody and daring to paint Victorian buildings black in San Francisco because it's so daring, but people like it because it's put in front of us a lot. There was a time when internally illuminated plastic signs were all the rage, and they were all over Nevada City. There are a lot of things that we don't like now that we used to like then, avocado green and harvest gold, before you were born.
Love them.
Yeah, because they have a nostalgic resonance.
Is that why I love it?
Oh, move this along, Rod?
Let him finish, please.
So Nevada City's getting darker because we are trying as a commission to meet the needs and desires of people who are very creative, have excellent taste, and want to do what they want to do with their buildings. So the LRV comparison between boreal forest with the blues on the river downtown, that's a really helpful consideration. And while all land use decisions are independent, standalone, there's no precedent created by previous decisions. There's a perception of a precedent set. Our town feels different to visitors. The city is funded mainly by sales tax, which is mainly provided by visitors who are excited to come to a place that is different from everywhere else. And it's different from everywhere else because of the really robust historic preservation code that gives us a basis for keeping it historic looking, feeling. And other darker colors in town have done a really good job of maintaining a historic feel while veering into the darker color schemes of our present time. And I could cite examples, but I'm not gonna. That's my oration.
Okay. With that, any other discussion that anyone would like to add?
I have a few things.
Go ahead, Amy.
Jessica, thank you for such a wonderful staff report. Having the LRVs was really illuminating. And it's very helpful, I think, in guiding how we're interpreting the context. I want to throw out there that it's something that, at least since I've been here, I don't know if there are meetings that I've missed where we've talked about it or where you've talked about it. It makes me a little bit, I feel like it's a two-edged sword in that on the one hand, it gives us actual numbers that we can look at, which we've been criticized, sometimes fairly, sometimes not, for taking a curational approach to this work, because it can be very subjective. And having numbers, I think, makes people feel a little bit easier, like there are clear boundaries. On the other hand, I also wonder if that's how we want to be measuring these decisions, if there aren't actual guidelines to say, here's where muted stops and bright begins. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. My thoughts generally are that I like to support a business to know what's going to attract its clientele and support that sales tax revenue. I don't think that's up to us. I think that's up to the business. I appreciate that the colors that you're offering are from the approved palette that was provided to you. I had also been thinking about the National Hotel and other examples of green in the context of the neighborhood and the town. I also, unless maybe I'm missing something, but I've been over the guidelines and the historical ordinance over and over, and there's nothing that prohibits a color like this. There are guidelines that say this is where we encourage you to go, but there's nothing that says these colors are absolutely out of line. And I just want to pull that out there to think about. I don't think that coloring this building is going to put our historic registry at risk, and it's also going to fade, as you pointed out. For all of these reasons, I think I'm happy to approve what's asked for or what's presented in the staff report. And I think, I just want to say, in response to the conversation about Moody and like trends, it's come up a lot, but I would like to see, outside of this discussion, I wonder what kind of data there is to support that. I wonder how much we're just supposing or imagining and how much it's just a cycle that happens every other generation. That's
Great.
it. Thank you so much.
Amy. Just to comment on when you mentioned the LRVs and how are they appropriate, I agree we don't make a decision completely on that, but I appreciate the fact that it's one more piece of data that we can consider along with everything else when we're making this decision.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will also add too that you're right, there's nothing specifically saying this color good, this color bad, but there is, as Jessica outlined, we need to consider color and we need to consider it within the historic context. So, yeah. Any other discussion at this point? Sean, anything? No? Jim, something?
Well, I mean, before we make a motion, can we discuss the staff recommendation?
Sure.
Which
is for the alternative color that.
Yeah, which is for the because, I mean, if we made a motion, it would
Sorry,
be,
the boreal forest.
it would be for one or the other, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so can we discuss that? Is that?
Sure, feel free.
Well, I mean, it seems good, and I think it's a color that captures a contrast between the two adjacent buildings as would the other colors that had been proposed. So you would still have that. So, I mean, that's a factor in its favor for the Boreal forest. So,
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to make a comment? If not, I will make a motion that we approve the staff recommendation for the Boreal forest color with the Essex green trim. So there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
You have a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Nye,
I'll abstain.
Commissioner Hadley,
yes.
Vice Chair Cobden,
Yes.
Chair Brown.
Yes. All right, motion passes 4-0. Great. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Okay, moving on to the next item, which is 358 Gold Flat Road, architectural review for a new single-family residence. Applicant would like to come forward. Great.
Unfortunately, my wife just stepped out, but she should be back.
Okay, great. Well, maybe she can join us while Jessica is making her presentation.
Okay, thank you, Chair Brown and Commissioners. Before I get started, I'm going to pass around a couple of colors. These are the actual chips for the new residents we're looking at now. Okay, so this is an architectural review for a new residence at 358 Gold Flat Road. This project was heard at the November 16th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting. The commission had provided some recommendations to the applicants at that time. And after that, the applicants worked with the then city planner who gave them some additional comments. So they've been working on this revised application for a couple of years now. And they are ready to propose it to you. So what we're looking at today is the construction of a new 2,550 square foot, 2-story residence on about 2.5 acres on Gold Flat Road. It's a steel building on a slab foundation, and steel is proposed for fire safety reasons. The design includes corrugated steel siding, a gabled steel roof, large windows, many of which are double hung and or tall and narrow. And then the colors are being passed around right now: ocean blue for the siding and matte black for the roof, with ash gray for the trim. I didn't have samples for the ash gray and the white, but we do have some photographs. If you had any other colors, you can give them to Donna here. So the previous Planning Commission requested changes on this were to make the roof pitch steeper. So the applicant went back to the manufacturer. The manufacturer said that the steepest they can go is 5 to 12. So that was done, and that's in the current proposal. The eaves were also extended 2 additional feet as well. The Planning Commission recommended more subdued tones for the colors. And in looking at the previous staff report, it appeared that the colors were like a little bit brighter and more saturated actually than what the actual chips show. So that's why the chips are being passed around now to show what the actual color would be. So it is fairly subdued, and I would call it a more muted color than what was previously shown. The commission also wanted some detailing of samples of the board and batten effect for the siding. Let me show you what that looks like here. So this is what was provided by the applicant, and I found a couple of photographs online that I think are very similar to what is being proposed. And then the next comment was window configuration appeared to be somewhat random, so the window placement was adjusted. And the windows are now placed just to allow maximum light into each area to be the most functional that they can be. The applicant has also provided additional information on window specifications, a floor plan. They removed the security lights to be more consistent with dark sky standards. They've also provided some visual renderings, which I'll show you here in a second. Let me kind of get to some of the photographs here. I'm actually going to skip down and then go back up. So one of the other new items that's proposed is a new hedge along Gold Flat Road that would help to just visually buffer the new home. If there are any other concerns about the aesthetics of the home. And then we'll go back up now. Oh, sorry, there was one other thing I wanted to show. The porch is now also extended. This is a new feature. So previously it was a smaller porch, and now it's extended all along the front there. So the applicant is proposing metal siding and roofing. It's kind of a barn-type structure, has a shed-roofed porch and a steeper pitched roof line. So all of these new elements in terms of being more consistent with mother lode architecture do seem to be trending in that direction and are definitely more consistent now. The windows are a mix of different vinyl windows with simulated divided lights. So for homes outside of the historical district, the design guidelines state that windows are recommended to be wood with true divided lights. I think this came up in a previous meeting with flexibility for vinyl and aluminum clad wood windows and fiberglass windows. And then we have some of you know that we have some new design guidelines that are in development right now that would essentially remove the wood recommendation and recommend other types of windows that are not as fire prone, don't have as fire prone materials in them. So staff is recommending on the windows that the applicant use an alternate choice for those, such as clad or fiberglass windows. That is the one modification that staff's recommending to the proposal. In the neighborhood context, there's a mix of different rural residential and residential agriculture development around the property. You can see these are some of the other homes in the vicinity. And then on one side, the applicant's property borders with a light industrial district. So there's some businesses on one side. Okay, I think we're done with that. So that is the sum of the report. And staff is recommending that the Planning Commission find the project exempt from CEQA and approve the architectural review application with the conditions of approval shown. And that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Great, thank you. Would you like to add to Jessica's presentation?
I will say that Jessica has been great. We have, since we started a few years ago, or a couple of years ago, we went through, now it's the third commissioner, and so she has been extremely helpful. So it's very nice that you guys have made her permanent. So we started this a while ago. The main thing is we know the fire danger here, and so that's why we really wanted to see what we could do with mitigating the foliage around the house, also doing the sprinkler system, doing the metal, right? So that was a big deal to us. And unfortunately, we have lived in around every single fire in the last few years, Lahaina, down in Altadena, et cetera. So we are extremely concerned about the fire safety. And one of the things that we proposed is the hedge along the street. The house is actually set back 80 feet from the road. And it's positioned in such a way that we're able to enjoy the property. It's a very long, narrow property. And so there's a lot of frontage on Gold Flat. And at night, there's a lot of traffic lights that come through. And so that not only to kind of give us some privacy, but it also will, kind of shield the house as well.
It creates like a strobe effect. It's
Because there's cedar trees right now intermittently up at the street level, so.
Did you say 80 feet?
80 feet from the road, yes. What else is that? That's it. Oh, and the other thing is the building will come pre-painted, right? And so there were some very limited choices of what we could pick. We felt that this one was a better choice because it was somewhat darker, kind of a medium color that really, if it were like a white, it would really stand out against a lot. I mean, there's a lot of trees and on the property as well, so.
But our neighborhood also has a lot of really dark brown homes, and it's a really non-conforming neighborhood, meaning we also have the Caltrans building behind us, and so it's kind of a really mixed use. Anyway.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, questions from the commission. Does anyone have any questions? Amy's shaking her head no. Michon, do you have any questions? No? Jim, do you have any questions?
No.
No? Tom?
This is, I think this is our first like metal residential building. Certainly the first one, this isn't the first time it's come before us, but.
Right.
But, so it's a great exploration. The steeper roof pitch is really helpful. Is this building designed for residential use, or are you like?
So here has been the issue, and this is why it's taken us a while. We found a company online when we first started out of Florida. There were no builders in California that were really approved or doing any steel buildings for residential.
They wouldn't build in California. Yes. It was an absolute no. You couldn't get any, because there are some manufacturers out there, but I couldn't find any. Now there are supposedly some more, but anyway.
Why? Why wouldn't they? Sorry.
I don't know. Yeah, they don't want to deal with the
nightmare.
codes. So we went back and forth with this company in Florida. Obviously, there's hurricanes and things like that they have to deal with there. But in order to make it California compliant, it was a constant back and forth, making sure that they understood what our requirements were. Then after that, what happened was, then we went with Lincoln & Long here in town, right, to help with the interior. So basically, the Florida company only did the exterior. And so then Lincoln & Long had to work with them once we finalized all the structure engineering, et cetera, to do the interior structure. So it's been dealing with two different entities in order to make this work.
And they did tell us that they have built other buildings, residential buildings in California, and that they would adhere 100% to any of the California buildings.
And no, that didn't. So it took a while to get them to that point, because we had to go back to them for a couple times for the roof, just because they did not calculate for finishing on the inside. So the pounds per square foot were too low. So we couldn't put drywall on the inside. We couldn't do the insulation. We couldn't do the sprinkler system. So there were things like that I don't think they really completely understood when we first started talking to them.
And snow load, was that an issue?
Yeah, so initially they came back just with snow load for a building, right, for just a warehouse. And then we had to go back. Lincoln & Long actually went back to them and said, hey, look, there's all these other factors that you have to include.
Lincoln & Long was really instrumental in helping us in the conversation between us, because we're not engineers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much.
I have another question. And did you consider changing the material of your windows per the recommendation, since vinyl windows appear to be? Are you proposing vinyl windows or fiberglass?
So I guess the nomenclature. So it's the wrapped. Is that so? It's not pure vinyl. I'm sorry if I didn't make.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Yes.
Great.
So.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted, right?
So, sorry, I'm a little bit confused. So what is the core of the window is wood with a vinyl cladding? Is
Correct.
That what it is?
Correct.
Okay.
Sort of interesting that, like you brought up, is that it's our first residential metal building, and how'd you feel about like the recommendations that came to you through the planners? I mean, the modifications that you made, such as with the pitch of the roof, which you discussed, but also the porch there and the windows.
Yes, so to be honest, this is not our dream home. This, we would love an old Victorian or, anything like that, but, just because of our mental state and fire, et cetera. And it was difficult because when we first proposed, came up in front of the board, we were given some direction that just said, we just need to do a quick rendering, et cetera, and then, bring it to you guys. And I don't think we did ourselves justice the first time in terms of the renderings, in terms of window placements and things like that. So, sorry, to answer your question, the recommendations were fine. I mean, it was reasonable. It was something that we were able to do. It didn't affect the overall aesthetic of the house. I mean, it actually enhanced it. So they were fine.
Do you have more time?
Oh yeah, I went and looked at the Tinnery here and KVMR building that are. Did you guys look at them? Because the light fixtures that you have.
Yes.
Yep.
Are similar to the ones on the Tinnery.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We have done numerous walks around town here in Grass Valley, going through neighborhoods, et cetera, kind of looking at some of that style architecture.
And the reason we're here is we love Nevada City, and we like the historical aspect, but building a beautiful wood historic building in Nevada City is just, I can't imagine what my insurance would be. So,
If you can get it.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. And that has fueled our entire, design process with this. Like I said, this isn't the dream home, but it's for the circumstances.
Is it not the dream home in the shape and the style, or just the material?
My background is all in design. I'm very whimsical and fun. So I would love some crazy, Harry Potter house or something, but, that.
Misfire resistant.
This keeps me in line, keeps me in check.
If I could come back to the windows for a second, I think the wood and vinyl are still, on the combustible end of things. Back to Tom's point, are you amenable to the recommendation for like a metal cladding or a fiberglass cladding that would be more fire resistant? I think in line with some of your goals for the
Yeah,
house
I mean,
as well.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, great. Other questions from the commission at this point?
I'm curious how the trim is accomplished.
So it is metal as well. So are you talking about on the eaves and such, or?
Yeah, and around the windows. I have a business that's in a metal building, and it has a bent metal casings, which I assume it's the same
Yes.
approach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't be pretending to be a wooden building. It's going to be an honest metal building. And just for my curiosity, these pictures that show these photographs of the house that doesn't exist are really convincing. That show them in the landscape. Are those AI photos, or what?
Gotta
is that?
love Gemini. So yeah, so
Wow.
in a past life I was a graphic designer, and so we found an application on the iPad that we were able to do the house renderings, and then Gemini did the rest when we plopped in photos of the property and put the house in.
Wow.
That's amazing. You're probably totally familiar with this, but
cool.
it's very, very helpful.
Good, good.
And the laurels did Gemini put those in as well?
Yep. Yes. So yes.
Vice Chair Cobden is laughing at me because she does that.
Yeah, so we kind of took that from our neighbor at 246 Gold Flat, the Shrams, and the house right next to us has the English laurel in the front, and it does a really nice job kind of shielding the house.
There's pictures of his hedge that are not AI,
Yeah.
and it looks just like that.
So is that in your application? Shall we consider that as a condition of approval, the addition of the laurels? or-
However you'd like, I mean, we're putting it in one way or another.
That's your
so-
plan? Okay, and I mean, it doesn't look to me like an ugly building that needs to be hidden, so.
Oh, good.
Okay, that's it for questions for me.
Anyone else have any questions? No? Is there anyone in the public who'd like to comment on this item? Seeing no one, bring it back for discussion. I'll start the discussion. I think this is, I appreciate you incorporating all of our comments. I also think this is a great example of really what we're going to see more of, but done in a very considerate way. I think it'll be an example for future buildings in the area. Other discussion?
I agree. I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see the
look
inside
forward
too.
to seeing it. Yeah. yeah.
And the acoustics.
Absolutely. Yeah, I will, I'm, as a designer photographer, will document all the way, so I'm more than happy to share photos of progress.
Great.
Well, back to the window discussion. I think it might be their preference. Unless you'd like to state a preference for metal clad wood windows, or if your preference is for vinyl clad wood windows. I'm agnostic on that.
Vinyl or fiberglass?
I think the proposal is for vinyl, and do we have any data that we don't have requirements that say vinyl is a bad idea as yet?
The current design guidelines say vinyl clad is acceptable. But I think that the new design guidelines are going away from that to metal clad and fiberglass.
More for fire
Right?
resistance.
Yeah,
just
for
given
fire
the natural-
resistance, right.
Natural melting / burning tendency of vinyl.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that leaves us. Currently, I think we don't have the authority to compel you to upgrade to fiberglass windows. But it perhaps as a recommendation for future fire safety, we are developing design guidelines, as Jessica said, to reflect the current fire risk.
Other discussion?
And do you have any thoughts on that? That's it.
So one of the things that we're definitely trying to do is costs, right? I mean, this is turning out to be a little more expensive than we thought, as it always does, and it happens. Just because we've had to deal with the two engineering companies and extra materials to make sure that we meet all the California guidelines, et cetera. I would prefer to stay with the vinyl clad initially, just because I believe that the aluminum are a little more expensive. But if it's a matter of a few $100s, then absolutely we will go with the metal, the aluminum clad.
Can we just leave it open in our conditions for approval?
I think we can, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
There's no
inclined
need
to require it.
To specify right now.
Yeah. Any other discussion? If not, would someone like to make a recommendation?
I'd like to make a motion to approve this project as presented. And making the finding that the project is exempt from CEQA, and to approve the architecture review application, making findings A and B, and do I list? I can't. Why don't I remember how to do this? But including all recommendations, all staff recommendations for approval.
Great.
I'll second.
You have a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Nye?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamami?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Yes.
Chair Brown?
Yes. Motion passes.
All the best.
Excellent.
Prosper.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Please don't bring fire here.
No, no. We're trying to escape it.
All right, moving on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want these back?
Pass this down there too.
There are more.
Oop, oop.
There are more.
Agenda thing's not working right. Yeah. All right, moving on to the next item, which is 138 New Mohawk Road, Suite 151, cannabis business permit. Is the applicant here? All right, please come forward and have a seat.
Afternoon.
Okay, thank you again. This application is for a cannabis manufacturing and distribution facility at 138 New Mohawk Road. The applicant's business is Nomad Horizons, doing business as Shady Creek Trading Company. And this business actually previously received approvals from the Planning Commission in 2018 for a very, very similar operation. And all of the tenant improvements are still in place. That application or permit lapsed in the last few years. So that's why the Planning Commission is hearing this again. So this would just represent a continuation of that previous approval with some modifications, which I'll discuss here in a moment. It's within a 1,600 square foot area. And the manufacturing activity consists of the infusion of cannabis distillate into pre-processed jerky products. And the applicant is also proposing a distribution component to transport samples to a laboratory and licensed dispensaries and delivery companies. The applicant would self-haul their hazardous waste to a disposal facility, and all transportation would be conducted in compliance with state requirements. There are no retail sales at this location. The project would be owner-operated and run. So a few of the differences here is that in the original application, there were some hazardous materials that were being used, and those are no longer being used. So the operation is safer now than it was. There were previously several employees proposed, and those are no longer included in the operation. It's owner-operated and run. The application staff has evaluated the whole application, and it is in compliance with all of our cannabis manufacturing and distribution requirements. So I will not belabor all of these requirements. Suffice to say that it does meet our requirements, and there are conditions of approval attached to this to ensure that the applicant would continue to meet those requirements. So staff is recommending that the Planning Commission find the project exempt from CEQA and approve the cannabis permit application with the findings shown and the conditions of approval shown in the staff report.
Great.
Could I
Happy to
make
answer any
some corrections?
Yeah.
I built that facility to be a type 6 facility, and we have a license to be a type 6 facility, not an infusion facility. I got approval from the fire chief for what we were doing in there. And as a type 6, we can carry up to 150 gallons of alcohol in that building legally. But we also have sprinklers, so we can increase that, I think, by 1/3, which we don't do. We have, and we always just maintain a 5-gallon bottle of 200 grain food grade alcohol, and that's all we use. We do have the ability through our license to process flour, make other products from that, but we don't choose to do that. So we're happy with what we're doing. It has a lot of medical benefits the way that we've designed it. It took a lot of time, a lot of work to make this what it is today. So yeah, we had problems with our partners. Costa Rica legalized cannabis, and so my partners, half of them, decided they wanted their money back, and they were going to go down to Costa Rica and open up the first dispensary. And I don't know what became of them, but we had to shut the doors for a little while because financially we had to recoup. And the reason actually why we're back is because we're going to do a celebrity endorsement with Mike Tyson 2.0. They want to have his picture on the bag, and we'll see what we can do about marketing with that, going in that direction. So it seemed worthwhile. Other than that, I had pretty much been done with all of this. But this seems like it could be a good proposition for us. So.
Great, thank you. All right, questions from the commission? Anyone?
I do, shockingly, I do have some.
Go ahead.
So you have been in operation in this location?
Yeah, 4 years.
So we are approving this because the permit has lapsed or the product has changed form? That's a question for Jessica.
Because the permit lapsed.
If I may.
Is that correct?
In 4 years, we never got any communication from the city. So we had no idea where we were at, but we were also not working. There's a long story behind that. I'm not going to bore you with it, but to get where we got, we had to sit for 2.5 years at $6,500 a month. And before we could get in that building to go to work, it had cost us $174,000 just for rent. Because as you guys wrote the law, we could only get a license if we had a rental that we signed a lease on. And the landlord knew it, and so he increased our rent by 5 times. So when our partners left and having taken that hit of $174,000, it pretty much stopped us. On top of that, we had first got into it with an infusion type N. But we didn't realize that there was no such thing as an infusion machine in this industry. Never been done before. I don't know what people were doing, but I designed that equipment from scratch and made it within 4/1000ths of a milligram of accuracy. And so that's what we're using. But it never existed before. So we had no choice but to get our license changed, and thank God I had built the place to be a type 6. So that all those regulations are in play. So.
Thank you. Thanks.
Other questions? If none, is there anyone in the public who'd like to comment on this item? Seeing none, bring it back to the commission for discussion. Any discussion?
None.
None? All right, someone like to make a motion? Do you want to make a motion, Jim?
I'll make a motion that we approve the application. That finds the project exempt from secret pursuant to Public Resources Code Section 15301. And it approves, number 2, the cannabis permit application for Nomad Horizon with the conditions A through C.
Great, thank you. Give
Can
a
I have
motion.
a small correction with the
Yes.
conditions, all the conditions shown, making follow the findings A through C.
With all the conditions shown, making the findings A through C.
Great, thank you. Is there someone who would like to make a
I'll
second?
second.
We have a second.
Thanks,
Roll call,
Jessica.
please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Nye?
Yes.
Commissioner Hadamy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Yes.
Chair Brown?
Yes, great, thank you, and good luck.
Was there anything that you wanted to add, or will we take care of that in private? You said you had some stipulations about this.
Well, there are conditions of approval attached to the approval, so I'll send you a letter that
Okay.
has all of those in there.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you,
within the
Jessica.
next couple days.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. On to the
Gary Sandwich kind of meeting.
yeah. Next item, which is zoning ordinance amendment, accessory dwelling unit regulations.
And I think our new city manager is
Oh.
here to introduce herself.
Oh, excellent. Welcome, Carrie.
Hi, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm not gonna sit down. You can sit down. Okay. I just wanted to stop by and say hi. I was having my computer installed, so I couldn't get here before and be able to chat with you. But anyway, so I wanted you to see my face. Very happy to have you serving and public service to the city of Nevada City. I'm excited to be here. I will be out in the community. You're welcome to come by and have a chat anytime you want. And very good hands with Jessica. I'll leave my card with my email address. But anyway, wanted to say thank you and introduce myself.
Welcome
Yeah,
aboard.
thank you. Welcome. We're glad to have you here too.
Thanks.
Wearing the trendy dark green.
Yeah.
Is that Essex Green? No, that looks like,
That's Boreal.
I don't know, she was watching her
That's the
earlier.
amended one.
I'm sure she's heard about it.
All right, Jessica
Okay.
and Gary.
Yes, thank you. So I'm actually going to turn this over to Gary. This is the Gary Show
Thanks.
right now.
Congratulations on your job. It's wonderful. I'm going to miss you a lot in the private side. So this item was continued from our last meeting to give some time for HCD to review the revised regulations. So we had made 2 iterations as a result of HCD's comments. I think Russ is available here. Russ has played a major role in addressing a lot of the changes here. And so there's non-discretionary requirements under state law, and then there are some limited discretionary amendments we can make to the code. In your staff report package, you should have seen the red line changes from the document we sent you before, so you can see the changes. Their last response to us from HCD was, we don't have any more critical comments, which doesn't create a warm and fuzzy feeling that when we send it to them, there won't be any more hitches, which, you know, I'm never surprised what those folks from HCD come up with, but we feel like we've got a pretty good code that will, you know, hopefully pass muster from HCD. This is one of the few, you know, HCD basically has a provision in the statutes that allow them to actually require them to approve the code, and if they have problems, they'll let us know. So this would be going to the Planning Commission for a recommendation per a resolution we put in the staff report to the City Council for adoption. And as you know, the statute is that the ADU regulations become effective the beginning of 2026, and so we're a little bit past that. So they're anxious to see us perform, and so that's what we're doing. At the last meeting, some of the discretionary things that are possible for our review would be the building height standards. There's a new parking standard we added relative to removal of trees if they're removing a parking space. And then, of course, the objective design standards, which we've kept in there. And so I think substantially there was fairly significant review at our December meeting about building heights. And there was, the commission came up with a 17-foot maximum height, which we've put in the resolution. We would like the commission to reconsider it to an 18-foot height, just because the pre-approved ADU plans will be over that, and we don't want to have to redesign the ADU plans for that. And I think there was some little bit of confusion during that fairly significant discussion with the matrix that the architect had. The architect's not here today, but we did have them put a new matrix together. I think it's a little more understandable to base your review on. And so with that, we would hope that the commission would consider those 2 options with the building height. And find the projects exempt from environmental review, adopt the resolution of recommending approval. And that concludes my report.
Great. Thank you, Gary.
Sure.
Okay, questions from the commission about this?
Did you say a couple of discretionary things?
Yeah, there was the parking and the building height and the objective design standards are discretionary in terms of what the city can do. So, and I know it's really hard to take the old, and I know, Tom, you were concerned about taking the old code and trying to compare with a new code, and we tried that. It was just throw the whole thing out and start from square one with a new code.
I think you did a really good and clear job of making it understandable where we started and where you are now.
Thank you.
At least from my perspective. The parking thing, can you explain why that might be a recommendation
Well,
from
Russ
us
had
to
brought
change?
this forward because it seems to we work with other agencies. Russ, are you there?
I am here.
Can we talk a little bit about that amendment that we made to the parking?
It boils down to this.
We can't hear you.
Hold on a second, Russ. We need to increase your volume somehow.
Let me see if.
Is there a way to do that?
I don't know.
E3.
Still pretty soft.
Yeah.
And is this any better? I don't know that I can do anything on my end.
That's a little better.
A little better.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead?
So the parking exception is to eliminate the situation where you required an off-street parking space, which eliminates an on-street parking space. So it's a no net gain situation. And with limited parking, you remove the on-street parking space by expanding a driveway or something, and it just oftentimes isn't going to look very nice. So leave the parking space alone. That's on street, and don't require the off street. The other consideration is that you've got to expand the off-street parking area, you've got to take down a big tree. And that is oftentimes not the desired outcome. And then the final exception would be if it results in the removal of more than 25% of the required front setback landscaping. In other words, if you're going to double the driveway width, if you got 20 feet or 18 feet of driveway or something, and then you've got to add another 12, 14 feet to park another car, the outcome may not is likely not going to look very good. So this exception is put in here to eliminate a bad aesthetic or the elimination of a big tree just for the sake of providing an off-street parking space. So that's the rationale behind it.
Yeah, staff thought it was a brilliant idea, so.
That's great. Appreciate that, Russ. Thank you.
Right, and parameters for the application of it. Yes, thank you.
Great. Other questions?
I'm curious about your unit definitions. Would it be okay if we?
Sure. You know, what's really interesting is we hit that pretty hard trying to figure out attached, detached, and Russ can probably also answer this, but we took it right out of statute because it's there's so many different statutes that are confusing.
Well, so I have some specific thoughts about it because I'm working on a project right now with HCD where their functional definition of dwelling unit or units is really bed. And it's interesting how within HCD, depending on what they're trying to get, it can move from bed to a full house with a kitchen that's shared. I wonder if it would be helpful to expand language in there, or if it's even allowable by HCD, to define a dwelling unit, to include language that accounts for roommates sharing a house that are not family. Because that still is, unless I'm seeing something or missing something.
Well, that's defined in our zoning code, and you can't really separate the relationships. They can be, and Russ can probably answer that better than I can, but
Yeah,
it's just
we
a
have
household
amended that.
unit, can be multiple parties.
I'm thinking about it specifically strategically in terms of accomplishing unit quotas set by the state.
We amended that definition. It's in the zoning code section of the ordinance.
Okay, great.
And the definitions, it's not in this ADU ordinance. It's, you have to look at the portion of the ordinance that revises the definitions.
Would it be worthwhile so as not to send people chasing, so as not to send someone on a wild goose chase, to copy the language in here for ease of reference?
I don't think so, because it needs to apply everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it what?
He said it needs to apply everywhere. And so I think having one consistent reference that's used throughout the code is what he's getting at.
Okay, thanks.
Other questions? No other questions? Anyone in the public who would like to comment? No? All right. Discussion? Anyone have any discussion in particular on the height?
I thought, yes, I thought we established that 17 feet would cover all of, not in every single case, but would accommodate all of the plans that Charles Durrett had developed at the time we discussed it, that 17 feet.
That was the
would-
confusion on my part too. I thought that it was. And then we went back and I think that Nakachi was, and he's the one that's been helping me with this, had some concerns. And we actually put applied that height standard to the units, and we concluded there were a number of units that wouldn't meet that height standard.
Doesn't seem like much of a jump from 17 to 18.
It doesn't.
Well, to me, the key thing is that, even with the 18, everything seems appropriately proportional and sized.
And we appreciate the commission reconsidering it.
Yeah.
No disrespect at all.
Yep. Other discussion?
Thanks for explaining that.
I'm just wanting to get to that chart so I can scroll down it myself.
What page is that?
228.
228. Scrolling.
This is long.
Very big packet.
And again, they are really nice pre-approved plans, very custom to our aesthetic. Really exciting.
I'll relay that to Chuck and.
Yeah. I hope I'm not alone in feeling that way.
Yeah,
I think the rest of the commission had previously mentioned that they were happy with the design, which was great. And when we take the ordinance to the city council, the architect will present the plans to them. And hopefully we'll get that endorsement from the commission as well.
Yeah. Okay, other discussion? Tom, anything else?
Well, only that the roof pitches are steeper than our requirement, which necessitates the increase in height.
I thought that was because it was like an analysis of typical ratios found around town,
That's
right?
right, that's right. Thanks
Yeah.
for the reminder. And if these proliferate, that would be a good effect.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, would someone like to make a motion?
So the motion would be to determine the project's exempt from environmental review, and that you would be approving the resolution and whatever height.
Got it. Would you like to go ahead and do that, Tom?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to approve what is this?
Should be resolution number.
I'm trying to find the page.
Well, did you not give us two?
2026-01.
I thought that there were two options that we were offered.
Well, we do, we have them, and once you give us the direction, we'll put that into the resolution, whichever one you choose.
That's based on the height.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's just gonna
18
blank
feet.
it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you direct me to the page with the?
No, I'm trying to find it.
I believe it's page 186, 186. Jessica?
It's 183 on
Or it's
mine for
180
the recommended
well, that-
action.
that's- I was on the
Oh,
second
you-
one, my bad.
She has it
Okay.
up on the screen.
Yeah, me to make it bigger.
You can just say the 18-foot, and we'll go with that, and we'll make the resolution.
So what, I move we approve the recommendations. No, I'm not finding clear enough language to say this, but
I can just read the height
I'm not sure that that's
into the record.
what's going to help us. May I try?
all right.
I'll take a stab at it.
Why don't you?
I'm going to make a motion to approve changing our original ADU height regulation from 17 to 18 feet. And to approve the resolution attached, 17.71.030, correct? Is that it?
It's
Oops, sorry, resolution number PC 2026
2026-01.
01.
This one.
Where did that?
And was there was CEQA in there too, wasn't there?
It's in the resolution.
Oh, got it, got it.
It's actually not specifically called out. Does that satisfy the need? Okay.
Saying yes?
Yep.
All right, I will second the motion. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Nye?
Yes.
Commissioner Conley?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cobden?
Yes.
Chair Brown?
Yes. Great.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you,
Thanks a
Tom.
lot.
All right,
for all
thank
the
you.
work, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. And pass on our thanks to Chuck and his team too.
I was wondering if I was going to get tarred and feathered today.
No, this was
No, you weren't.
well considered.
It's happened before.
Seems we all had lunch.
All right, with that, Jessica, I think we were there's a note, we're changing the meeting date next month too?
Yes, so yes, announcement, we're canceling the April 16th meeting and moving it up to April 8th, which is on a Wednesday. It's actually the city council day also, so we just need to make sure we're done before they get in here.
Keep the agenda.
Do that.
Yeah.
Keep the agenda short, yeah.
Yeah. And then another announcement, we received an appeal on the Oddfellows building. So that is going to city council in April, on April 8th, actually. So, yeah, that's another one. At the next city council, they'll be hearing the appeal on the yoga studio at 310 Broad.
All right.
Yep.
Be interested to see the outcome.
Yep.
Great.
Is there any like requested action statements, anything on the part of the Planning Commission in terms of supporting, I've never
seen an appeal before.
Yeah. Oh,
We,
okay.
in my experience,
Yeah.
we haven't had an appeal before.
No, your approval.
We have
Yeah.
had some appeals, haven't we?
Yes,
Yeah, there have been a number.
and no, we have your record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The record is your vote. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we will adjourn.